What's up, Brit Builders? And today's build is the motocross bike, set number 42007. Year it came out was 2013. Age group you're looking at 9 to 16. Number of parts 253. There's a lot of little pieces like the chain links, pins. Price per piece 10 pence. And the cost when it came out in 2013 was £24.99. Value now, if you had one that was in very good condition, mint boxed, sealed, you're looking at £112. Not too bad. And used, you're looking at £28 to £39. Hello, it's Shaun from BRIT'N. How you doing, folks? I hope you're doing well. Yep, here's today's build. Here we go. And we get the instructions up for you as well. There you go. Okay. I'll just zip that shut. So you can see the size of the build with the tires. That's quite big. That is quite big. And then we got wheel rims as well. And we've got some engine blocks, and we've got some suspension parts, a lot of chain link for the motorbike chain. Got some panels, some bright orange panels this time. Move those aside. Some smaller panels. Even smaller panels, and we've got the great big gear on the back here. That's for the rear wheel. Okay, so we get a curly whirly. Oh, we've got another panel there. Take that. Get the curly whirly, and it's black curly whirly. 3-axle in the top. And blue pin, short ways in. Just below that that grey axle there, and then we've got a V shape, and that's going to have an axle, a 3-axle in the bottom of that, and then it's going to join those two there. Push them through, push your axle back through, and you should have it kind of like that. And we got a 5-hole Technic beam, pin in top and the bottom, black pin, one in the top, one in the bottom, and then we've got this 2-pin connector that's going on the bottom pin, like so. Then we're going to connect that to the curly whirly. And that's going to go into that hole right there at the end of the elbow, like that. Then we have a pin with a collar, black pin with collar, black pin with collar. That's going in after that 2-pin connector. Actually, it's going in. We've got a blue pin with the axle is going to go into the back of that, and that's going to go into the framework like so. And we've got an 8-long axle. So we've got 8-long axle and 2-hole connector with the axle and a pinhole. That axle is going to go through into the middle, and then a blue pin is going to go long ways in through that connector there, and then that is going to fit next to, and the blue pin is going to fit next to the black pin, so it's like that. And then we go close it off with another curly whirly. So get the curly whirly. So we've got match up quite a bit here. You've got 2 axles to match up there. 1 pin, another pin, another pin, and another pin. So you might need to give it a bit of a wiggle, but it will go. Give it a bit of a wiggle. It's this corner piece here. There we go. Got it. And push your axle back through. And you should have something like this. And then we've got a black pin that is going, I'll find a black pin next to the 8 long axle. And then we've got some bushings going on the other side, on either side of the axle. Like so. And make sure the axle's even. Then we got the engine, right. Normal engine frame that we've seen in previous builds. Have it up so the smaller end or shorter end is at the top. 2 black pins with collars. They're going to go into this hole and this hole. Alright, so we want 2 black pins. There we go, there's one. So there's that hole and the top hole, like so. Then we got the engine block. Engine block is going to attach to those 2 black pins. And then we got same again on the other side. Like that. And that. And before we put the other engine block in, we're going to do the pistons. So very short, this one. So you get your crank, piston arms, find some piston arms. There's one. And go have them facing each other. There's only 2. So it's got a lot of axles in here at the moment. They kind of hide pretty well. There we go. And then close it off with another one of these crank pieces. Like that. Next thing we got is the pistons themselves. And you should end up with something like that. And we got the red axle that is going to come in and it's going to hold these in place. So we'll pop a piston in there. And then the red axle is going to go into this middle hole here at the bottom, into that crank piece there. Then we're ready for the next part of the engine block. And there is. Probably get that lined up first. I don't want to push these in either. I'm going to push these back out so that I can actually get that in there, and then I can secure that engine block in there. Give it a bit of a whirl and you should see the pistons working. And so we got a black pin on the bottom here and a black pin on the bottom here. So there's 1 and 2. And 2 blue pins at the top, short ways in, short pin in, and then close it off with the other part of the engine block frame. 4 pins to line up, give them a bit of a wiggle, and there you have it. It just test it again, and you got free movement, so you're good. And we got the big black gear on there. That's going on the yellow side because we're still keeping it this way with black pins. So we need big black gear right there, and another blue pin on here, short ways in. So it sticks out like that. And then we've got an ET head. I haven't seen an ET head for a while. There's an ET head there. Upside down. 3 pins. Give it a wiggle. Make sure your axle hole is at the top. And then we're going to put this into the actual frame. So the black pin here on your frame is going to go into the middle hole at the top there. Like so. Next part is we got like a elbow joint or a knuckle. It looks like a knuckle actually. Reminds me of a knuckle. Could be used in builds as a knuckle. There's your knuckle there. And we want a 4-long axle with a stopper. So the dark bluish grey. There we go. And a light bluish grey 2-hole connector with an axle. And then you've got to put a bush in behind to keep that 4-axle in place, like that. So it just gives it a little bit of movement. And then we're holding this in place with the knuckle. And it's going to go into the bottom hole here. And it's going to be held in place with the red 2-axle. Push that through, and there you have it. And we got small tang gear on the end of this this 4-axle. Teeth are facing inwards, so make sure your teeth are facing inwards. And then that's going to connect to, make sure we get it the right way around, this blue pin on top here. Like so. And you just give it a bit of a twirl and you should see that middle gear there move in, which should turn your pistons. So far so good. Another curly whirly. Oof. Okay, got me curly whirly and a 3-axle. So we've got a 3-axle. That's going to go in the end here of the frame, and then you go put the curly whirly in, curling inwards, and then push the 3-axle home, and it will hold the curly whirly in place like so. And that's an axle hole at the bottom there of the curly whirly, so it doesn't move too much. And then we've got a red pin that's going to just secure and lock that curly whirly in place a little bit more. So that's going to go into the end of the knuckle and through to the curly whirly. Now you've got no room. There's a little bit of wiggle room, but not much. Okay, then we got V-shape. V-shape. 3-axle at the bottom. Okay, blue pin, short end in the elbow of the V shape, and then we've got a hole space and then another blue pin, short end in again, like so. And that is going to go, so this grey axle is going to go into this axle hole here, and then the blue pin is going to line up in the elbow of the curly whirly. Like that. And then we're going to close it off with the other V shape. 3-axle on either side. So there's 1 and 2. That's going to go It's not closing it off, actually. It's making more of a frame. So this grey axle is going into the axle hole there, and the other axle is going into the axle hole. No, it's actually going into this hole here, the middle hole. So middle hole, axle hole, push it through, and then close it off with another V shape. So now you're starting to get your frame of your motorcycle. And we got 2 black pins. One is going in this hole here, and then the other side as well. So we got this one and this one. There's probably going to be where you're going to clip some panels like the fairing to. And we got a 15 long. There's only one actually in this set, so there's a 15 long bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Perfect. 2 blue pins. They're going to go in long ways because they're half on each side. So there's 1. So it's a whole space, then pin, drop, and drop another pin like that. Get your 2 small panels. Clip those onto the end of the blue pins like that. And this is going to form the back of the bike. So it's going to clip onto this blue pin here. And it's going to rest on there like so. And then we've got a Technic beam going from this side here to down here. There's 2 of these, so 3 axle in either hole, either side. So in the axle hole there, 1, and then 1 at the other end. Then we've got a black pins dropping in the elbow. So we get black pin, drop that in the elbow. That's on the other side. Then we got a tan pin, long tan pin, frictionless. So there should be some movement on this. And then 2 more black pins dropped next to that. So pin drop and a pin drop. And you should end up with something like that. And then this is going to, the axle's going to go into this hole here just after the panel. So that's where you're going to locate that. And then the other axle is going to go from the second hole down. You got 2 holes down from this bend here in your curly whirly. So it's actually going to sit in this 3rd hole here. So it looks like that. And then I think we're going to close it off because it's very loose. No, we're not. We're not. We're adding suspension. Right, so you got your suspension arm, and its yellow piece is going to go onto the tan pin that we put in there, keeping it hold in place so that it doesn't drop out. And then we're going to close it off, and then it shouldn't drop out anymore. So line up the axle, the pin, and the axle. And there you have it. And that is the back of the bike. That is your rear wheel suspension. And we got a black pin that's going into the elbow of the Technic beam there. We got black pin into there. So it's the same as that side. And we got 2 small L-shape, black L shapes. And we got a blue pin that's dropping in. So it's the bed. There's the bed. There's the headboard. And the pin is going to drop in short ways at the headboard. And then we got a 3 axle that is going into the foot of the bed. Like that. And then this is going to locate. So you got 2 holes from the orange beam here. So 1, 2, and it's going to drop into that hole there. just try and figure out where the axle's going. It's going into the middle, that long slot in the curly whirly. So the axle's going in there, pin's going in here. Like that. And then we're going to close it off with another L shape. Give a bit of a wiggle. And there it is. Just push the axle through a little bit just to smooth it out a bit. And then we've got two 3-hole Technic beams. Blue pin on either side, short pins in first. Short end in first, and then this is going to go right here just after that L shape we just dropped in. So that's going to go in there like that, and then close it off with another 3-hole Technic beam on either side. That's kind of your saddle. And then we've got another angled Technic beam. We've got 3 axle going in the top here. Oh, we got 4 pins to line up. Woof. Right, so all 4 pins, they're going to go drop in after the axle. They're going to go in short ways. So that's 2, that's 3, and that's 4. And then these are going to have knuckles on them. Is it knuckles? Or is it these? It's these U-shapes. And they are going to go on the blue pins only. And you're going to have the axle holes facing up. So we need one more. Attach that to the other 2 blue pins. So you got that kind of thing going there. And the axle is going to go into this axle hole here. Make sure you got that kind of angle. That looks about right, I think. And then we've got 2-hole light grey connector with the axle hole, 3 axle. A lot of 3 axles in this build. It's going in the middle, and then this is going to join forgot to put an axle in here. And it's 3 axle that's going to go in here. There we go. Then that's going to join that. And that goes into the axle holes. That's it. And then we're going to close it off. So we'll close this part off here. Four pins to line up, don't forget. So yeah, give them a bit of a wiggle. There we go. Make sure everything's nice and smooth. Got to push the axles through here. There we go. That's where your steering column is. And then we've got a light grey L shape is going to be going on this axle here and this pin here. Push it all the way through. Ooh, now we got the big back wheel. Right, so cog, 7 axle. And it's just going to go into one side. Then we got the 11 hole grey. There's 2 in the set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And that's going to go on the end of the axle, and we're going to close that off with a large grey bushing just to hold that in place. And then we've got a crank arm, a 6-axle and a 7-axle. So we want the pin on this side here. The 6-axle is going to go into that. Like that. And the 7-axle is going to go in that one there. And then 2 holes from the end. So 1, 2. The grey axle is going to drop in there, and that's going to go in there. The pin's going to hold these in place, like so. And then we got a small L shape, and it is going to be the L. And there's going to go both axles, and then we're going to close that off with a 2-hole connector with the axle hole. Axle hole is going to go on the grey axle, like that. Then we're going to put a 2-pin connector. There we go. 2-pin connector there. Holes facing is kind of going across instead of up and down. And then we're going to close that off with an L shape, if I can find one. So you got 2 axles to line up, and then that pin. Shouldn't be too hard, and you kind of end up with something like that. Next, our first big wheel. Pop the tyre on. Do a bit of a flex around because you're going to get some gaps. Just kind of like a real tyre, really. Except for it's probably easier with a real tyre. And there you go. And you don't have any gaps on that side. So next is this side. Just pull it slightly up. And there you have it. And that's going to go on the axle here. And the axle is going to go through the middle hole. Keep your finger or thumb behind the axle on the big gear there. And then we're going to close that off with a large grey bushing. Let's looking the part. It's looking the part. And then we're going to close that off with the other 11 beam. So axle. It's just axles to line up, so it's not too difficult. Hold it in place because there's nothing that's pinning it in. And then we're going to put a short bush in on the other side. Like that. And we got another one of those crank handles. Just put that in. So the axles are going to go into the axle holes on the crank handle. So the pin needs a bit of a wiggle. And you got to line that axle up as well. There we go. Got it. So it looks the same on the other side. That axle's poking through just a touch. Looking pretty solid. And so we got an 8-axle with stopper on the end and a small light grey gear. That's going to go on the end like so. And then this is all going to hold this in place. So where's that going to hold it? Alright, so it's going to go into that hole there. So put those two together. And grey pin with axle. Straight through like that. Nothing holding it in place at the moment. And I'm guessing that is going to be held in by an axle there. Okay, so we got another gear. Oh, we've got 2 gears actually. We've got 2 gears. So we've got 1 gear on the top here. And 1 gear at the bottom on that dark grey axle with stopper. You see it's trying to meet up. And then that still makes your pistons move. You see that? Just test those out. Make sure that's all good. And then you close that off at the bottom here with a small bushing like that. Now we're getting close with this piece here. So that's probably a 3-axle that's going to go in there. Yeah, it is. It's a 3-axle that's going to lock that in place. I'm going to put that in one side, then locate the suspension piece and push the axle through. And then the axle should come through the other side there. Solid. And now you've got some pretty cool suspension. Kickstand next. Okay. So we want a large bushing, and we want a 3-axle, an angled. That's a 4-angled connector with a 5-axle. So there's our 5-axle and our 3-axle, and then we're going to put a Mordrum head on this short Mordrum head. There we go. I think that's the way it's going to go. And then a large bushing on top, large grey bushing on top like so. And then the kickstand is going to be attached to this black pin here, like that. So you can fold it in and out. And now it should, right, it probably won't until it gets another wheel on. I was going to say, this kickstand should hold it, but yeah, maybe not. Then we got a crank handle that's going from this axle here to here. How's that holding that in place? Oh, give it a go. So axle hole facing and the pin facing out, and a connector sleeve. We got a connector sleeve, grey sleeve. Okay. Put it in the bag. It's all right. And oh, look at that! We got chain link. That's next. All right. So 36 chain link pieces, very tiny, and we're going to have the hooks facing upwards. So I don't know if you can see that. We'll have hooks facing upwards, and then you're just going to attach those hooks onto the pins. So there's 36 of them, hooks facing upwards. It's going to take a little while. This is probably where the most piece count for this build is. Right here is in this chain. And I've seen this kind of chain used in Technic builds quite a bit now, especially in the older ones. Used for turbocharged chains, which is kind of cool. Nice little detail. Personally, I haven't worked with chains all that much yet. The earliest set, I haven't done it yet. I haven't done a video on it yet, but there will be a video out on it soon. And once I actually get one out, I will try and link it to this video so you can see. and it had wider chain than this, but it's like a 1970s set. So this kind of chain design has been around for a while. I believe the set is a forklift, an old yellow forklift. So that will be coming up soon. We're almost there. Keeping consistent with which way the hooks are facing. I don't really know if it matters, to be fair, but we're just going to keep with that. They seem to go on pretty well. Got a few more pieces left. That. Imagine if you open this up on your carpet, your floor, and one of these bounced somewhere. I can see a few tears at Christmas or birthday time, because you lose one of these links, your chain's not going to be long enough to go around the whole system. I have to just make sure that we've got all our chain links. I think we have, so it's cool. So there's our chain. It looks pretty cool actually, and I just knocked a grey bush in like a golf club over over the keyboard. Yep. So don't know if we're going to put that around first or not. So it's going to go around this first gear here. I'm going to hold it in place. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a gap in the middle here, just about here or here, to connect it. So I'm going to pull it through until we get to about the middle, like that. This might not work. Hey, look at that. It worked. Fantastic. And there you go. There's your chain set. Roll the wheel and you got your pistons moving. Everything is working really nice. It's not too slack. It might be okay to take another link out. I don't know. But that's pretty that's pretty cool. And then we got another one of those connectors. So we got two of those connectors that are missing. Right. So we got the kickstand part, or the footrest. I think that's what these are. These are footrests. Yeah, those look like footrests. Oh, looks like the exhaust next. Okay, so long Mordrum, long blue pin, and it's going to go all the way through, so you got halfway. Then you got the 2-hole connector with the axle is going to be on there. Then you got a 4 axle with stopper is going through the hole and then the axle hole, like so. And then we are just doubling up again with another one of those 2-hole connectors with the axle. It's going to be axle hole on the axle, and then we're going to drop another blue pin, short end in on the other side there, just so that we can extend the exhaust a bit more. So pin, axle, kind of got that, got 3 blocks plus the Mordrum, and now we've got the smooth connector. So we've got the smooth connector, and then a grey pin with stud. So this grey pin is, I think they're a bit longer, like that. So you got the stud end, and then we're going to attach a hose to the blue pin here, and then a black pin on the hose. So you've got a hose here, you've got a long hose, and you've got a short hose. My guess is it's a short hose. That's my guess. We're going to pop that on there, and then we're going to put a black pin on the end, like so. A little bit tricky to do. Just rotate the pin just a little bit, and then we're going to fix the exhaust on these 2 black pins here, like that. And then we're going to see if we got the right line, right length pin here or hose, and you're going to put the pin in next to this hole with the grey pin with that stopper on it. And yeah, that looks right. That looks right. Cool. That was a good guess. Nice little bit of detail there as well. Then we got some panel work. So we've got the short panel, and we've got a 2-hole connector with axle and a hole. We got the blue pin with axle is going to go into the axle hole, like so, and then that's going to go. If you have your panel facing that way, you got the hole facing towards you and the 2 holes facing up. This is going to go into the bottom pin like that, and then we've got 2 black pins going into the top. So that's 2 like that. And then we are going to get the larger panel. Got the right one. And then these pins here are going to sit in here. So it's the first 2 holes. So it's like that. Then we got blue pin with axle is going to go into second hole from the bottom here. 1, 2, so in the middle. And then you're going to put the other black hole, black 2-hole connector on the end like that, so your hole's facing that same way as the other is facing. And then we got the longer hose, right? Okay, so we got the black smooth connector, black pin, blue pin with axle, and then black pin with collar going onto the blue pin with axle, and then we are attaching the longer pipe. So we're running this rather large long pin through this hose. Try not to be too rough with it, you could tear the hose. This is actually easier than said than done. Here we go, we got it moving. Just slightly rotate it around and you should have it. There we go. Blue pin with axle on the end. So it's the pin going into the other side and the axle is facing out. Then this is going to pop into the top hole of the shorter panel like that. Yep, and then it would have some stickers put on it. We're not doing that. And this is going to attach to, let's see, this is going to attach to that pin there, I believe. And that pin there. Right, okay, so those 2 pins there. Like so. Turn it around, and this is going to go into the pin with sleeve collar. I kind of rotate it a little bit because you've got an axle to try and line up with the other pin. There we go, gotcha. So it's going from the actual engine to what looks like probably the exhaust system and stuff. Another panel work, same again, and this time with the blue pin in the bottom pin, bottom hole here, 2-hole connector, black, the axle hole, 2 pins in the top, 1, 2, like so. And then big panel sitting on top. And then like that. And then blue pin in the middle. 1-hole connector on that like so. Apply the stickers and then apply this pin here and this pin here So that connects to that one, and that one connects to that one. There you go. Nice. Almost done. Not many parts left. Front suspension. Here's your two suspension arms here. Quite weak, because there's two of them, as opposed to the other one is a little bit more tougher. So we got 7 axle is going to go into the axle hole in the bottom here where the spring is. So we've got a 7 axle. So that is going to be a light grey. Guessing we're going to do this twice. But for now, it looks like we're doing it just on its own. So long bushing down the 7 axle. And then we got the coat hangers. And you want the top of the coat hanger, because that is the top. Yeah, that if you look at it like that, that's the top of the coat hanger. That's where the hook would be. Top of the coat hanger, the same as this notched part here. And we're going to double those up. So same again with that. Just like that. And then we've got 7 axle is coming in. And drop that in there. And then we got the large bushing as well. So it's like that. Kind of even it up a bit. And then we got 2 connectors going across. So we got this one here, keeping it facing the way it should be. It should be down and hanging down like that. And another one hanging down like that. So you got that kind of thing. So it's they're all facing, all the notches are facing the same way, basically. And then we got a 6 axle is going to go across those 2. These are holes, so the axle will just drop straight through. See, it will just. So just keep it in place. And go close that off. Let me see. Not yet. It's still going to be loose. Right, okay. So we got a 5 axle, a Technic brick with the cross section. I'll pop that in there, and that is going to go into the middle hole at the end there. And we're going to pop coat hangers on again. So you got 3 axles to line up. Go like that. Now that piece won't fall out. Still, this 6 axle will fall out. I don't know why that 6 axle is going in there just yet. Coat hanger. Okay. And then we got the large grey bushings are going on the end here, on either side. Still keeping that axle in place. And then we got 2 more Technic bricks on there. And with the studs facing up. So kind of like that. And then we've got 7 axle going through with a small bushing. So those are both 7 axles. So 7 axle through there. Yeah, that 6 axle is just going to drop out. Small bushing behind, and then small bushing on the other side. Oh no, that's a large bushing. My bad. Like that. And then you got the front wheel. So put these tyres in here. Fluff them about a bit. Just get rid of those big gaps there. Just kind of fluff them about a bit. And they will sit in place eventually. There we go, pop. So that's that. We've got this one here. There we go, perfect. And then we're going to put that on this axle here. Oops. Middle axle. Then a large bushing on top. And then it probably is the next suspension arm. Yep. So I put that in there first, and then that on there, like that, and then close that off with the small bushing. Almost there, folks, almost there. Two crank arms, well, kind of crank arms, they're half crank arms. And we got red axles are going into the thicker part, like that. And this is what the black 6 axles for, right? Okay, so let's go in back in there, hold that in place, put the crank arm. So the red pin is going into this axle hole here, and then you got this axle hole here as well. Locate the red axle first. You may have to turn the black 6 axle because it's in holes instead of what's the names? Yeah, I've just got that the wrong way around. Instead of axle holes, so it will just rotate. There we go, that's that one. And then this one, same again on the other side. Red axle, black axle. Now that black 6 axle won't fall about anywhere, and you should have something like that. It's probably for a headlight or some front fairing, mudguard, that kind of thing. Right, so it's time to attach this to the body of the bike, and we are using a 4 axle with stopper through the top, like that. Kind of rotate them a little bit and push it home, and you should have some nice steering. Now it might stand up. Hey, look at that. All right, so we got the front mudguard 2x4, and then we've got a hinged part that's going to go on the end of 2x4, and then we got two 2x2 plates that are stuck together here. There we go. Where would I be without that tool? And then you put the cover over like so. Turn it over, you got the 1x3s down the side here. Got the 1x3s. So kind of make it a little bit more solid. Then we got the other connector. The other connector is on here. There we go. So these are tooth. They got teeth to hold it in place at certain angles, which is they are quite cool hinges actually. And then we've got the other two 2x2 plates, and then we've got the other angle plate there, and it should go something like that. According to the picture, it's like that. Oh, it's gonna be the front mudguard. Yeah, that's it. That is going to attach to the studs of the Technic bricks that we've been putting in, like so. Awesome. That looks pretty cool. So the handlebars next, I guess, is what we've got left. How do we make handlebars out of this? So that's the question. Right, so we've got 3-axle and a 3-angled connector. Then we've got a 7-axle. That's the last 7-axle. Then we've got a fire hydrant. Fire hydrant like that. Then we've got a small bushing. Then we got the smooth connector. And then we've got another small bushing. Short bushing on there. And then another fire hydrant. Guessing that's what's going to connect to that part there. Then we have the 3-angled connector and the 3-long axle. And then you got these guys. These are fantastic, aren't they? These are like those minifigure lollipops. Or the minifigure navigation things for airports and stuff. Well, these are going to go upside down. And they're going to act as your brake and clutch lever. Look at that. That is so cool. Very clever. Very clever. Like that. And then drop that on top of the 2 periscopes. Like so. Got a black pin there. And that, folks, is your trials bike. You get rid of that in a minute. There you go, folks. It looks pretty darn awesome. All the functions. You got your rear wheel and your pistons moving. You see that? Steering, obviously. But you've also got... No. You've also got this awesome suspension. Front. You can see that. That's just awesome. Front suspension, that in the back. Yeah, gets my vote. It's a great little set. I like it. You got a few pieces left over there. That's probably because I was looking for. If you like what you saw, you know what to do. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs down. Hit comments. Love comments. Like and subscribe. All that good stuff. If you like to see any more. Thank you so much. I'm Shaun from BRIT'N. Peace.